The New York Knicks may have had their best win of the season versus the Philadelphia 76ers, winning by 30-plus points against a team that was inside the top three, and people like Stephen A. and people at ESPN told you there's no way the Knicks can compete against a team like the Philadelphia 76ers. Well, they just walked into their own building, and they dog-walked them. The New York Knicks just dominated the Philadelphia 76ers. And we're going to break down that game. We'll talk about how good Brunson was. We'll talk about how good Dante DiVincenzo and Miles McBride and Isaiah Hartenstein were. But first, I just want to go over the latest news and rumors that surround this basketball team right now. Jake Fisher of Yahoo Sports put out a big-time kind of trade deadline preview, and he said this: New York made outgoing calls on bigs after losing Mitchell Robinson to an injury, but the addition of Presta Chua alongside OG Anunoby has rival executives preparing for Knicks to explore backcourt options. They can explore from Alec Burks to Malcolm Brogdon, and the premier point guard on the market may be Dejounte Murray. Jake Fisher also said New York surely has plans to keep searching for upgrades. The Knicks will explore a wide range of names from former Tom Thibodeau favorite Alec Burks in Detroit to the sturdy Malcolm Brogdon in Portland. Let's talk Brogdon. We'll go Burks and then Murray. Let's start with Malcolm Brogdon. Right now, he's on a 2-year, $44 million contract. It's $22 million this year, $22 million next year, which makes him a viable trade target for the Knicks because they can match that salary with Evan Fournier making almost $19 million. I think Malcolm Brogdon is a really good player. And I think adding a guy like Evan Fournier alongside some protected first-round picks could net you a guy like Brogdon. A reason I think my guy Malcolm would be a good good addition alongside the Knicks is for a couple of reasons. He was the sixth man of the year last year. When you watch this Knicks team, if Deuce isn't going to make four threes a night, you're going to need another guy to create some offense off the bench, and that's what Brogdon does. 15.7 points per game, 5.6 assists, and he's shooting 43.8% from the field. But he's shooting 41.4% from downtown, and he's shooting 52.6% on catch-and-shoot threes this year on over 3 attempts per game. What do you want to put alongside Jalen Brunson and Julius Randle? Guys that are ready to catch and shoot, knock them down in a high clip, and can make off the bounce. That's exactly what a guy like Malcolm Brogdon can do. Also, Jake Fisher mentioned a guy like Alec Burks as a potential trade target. And Alec Burks has not had that good of a season for the Detroit Pistons. But we know a guy like Burks is not only, I guess it's safe to say, somewhat of a fan favorite for the New York Knicks, but he is a Tom Thibodeau guy through and through. I mean, his last game against the Utah Jazz on January 3rd, he had 27 points on 9 of 17 and 5 of 9 for 3. And that's kind of where Burks, I mean, we know who Alec Burks is, right? As long as he's not point guard, I'll take him on my team. But this year he's only shooting 35% from 3, which isn't bad, but it's not great. But he shot 41% last year, 40% the year before, 41% the year before that, and 38 the year before that. So his numbers are a little bit down, but I would take a guy like Alec Burks to kind of lead my second unit. But like Jake Fisher said, they're also going to have their eyes on the potential best point guard in the trade market, and that starts with a guy like Dejounte Murray. We've talked about Murray a couple of times on this channel, and while I'm not sure if Murray is the ideal perfect fit, perfect puzzle piece next to Jalen Brunson, there are people, according to reports from Ian Begley, that believe people inside the Knicks building believe he's a perfect fit. Why do I not think that? Because of the three-point shooting. I understand it's a three-point career high year for him at 38%. But the prior 3 years tells me I'm not sure if that's sustainable. 34% last year, 32% the year before, 31% the year before that. What I do like is he's shooting 37.5% on 3.6 catch-and-shoot threes a night, and he's knocking down 40.5% of his pull-up threes, which is 2.5 per night. I also like the ability for Dejounte Murray to be that good defender. Coming out of Washington in his early years with the San Antonio Spurs, he was regarded as one of the most versatile and multiple defenders on the defensive side of the floor. I'm not necessarily sure that Dejounte Murray is still that type of player, but I do believe that he would give the Knicks some juice on the defensive end. I also like him for this reason. He can create for himself, and he can create for others. The Knicks need that. When Jalen Brunson is out, you can have Dejounte Murray running the point guard position for you and kind of be the engine to this offense. A lot of people be like, but Marshall, it didn't work for Trae Young and Dejounte Murray. One, I think that's unfair. The Atlanta Hawks last year went to Game 6 against the Boston Celtics in round 1. Has it not worked out record-wise this year? Sure. But I don't know if that's so much because of the fit of Trae Young and Dejounte Murray. I would say that's a lack of talent. Why would it be different with the Knicks? One, Jalen Brunson can play off ball. He is an elite catch-and-shoot three-point guy. Last year, he shot almost 50% from catch-and-shoot threes. Number 1 in the NBA of all players that average more than 18 points per game. Another reason, you have a guy like OG Anunoby. The Atlanta Hawks don't have a guy like OG Anunoby outside of Trae Young and Dejounte Murray. But the final point, when Julius Randle is on, we know he's an all-NBA player. And the Atlanta Hawks don't have an all-NBA player outside of Trae Young and potentially Dejounte Murray. Murray could potentially be the 4th option for the Knicks. He's option 2 for the Hawks, and I think that's why it would pay a little bit of difference. The 2 guys I would like to see the Knicks target, though, are Malcolm Brogdon and Dejounte Murray. So I want to ask all the real ones out there and factor in the price to make these trades. It's going to cost you way more to trade for Dejounte Murray than it would for Brogdon. I think you'd have to include a guy like Quentin Grimes in a trade for Murray alongside Fournier and picks. Well, I think Fournier and picks could just get it done for Malcolm Brogdon. So I'll ask you, who do you want? Factor in the price, fit, and everything. Type MB for Brogdon, type DM for Murray. I'd be happy for both, but I want to know what you guys have to think. Coming up, we'll break down all the Knicks highlights against the 76ers. They mollywopped them on ESPN, and Stephen A. doesn't know what to say. But first, I got to give a huge shout out to today's sponsor, Factor. Go to factormeals.com/KnicksChat50. Use that promo code KnicksChat50, and Factor will match your initial deposit up to Factor will give you 50% off your first order. When you go to factormeals.com/KnicksChat50, use the promo code KnicksChat50, you'll get 50% off. The new year is here. It's time to think healthier, smarter, and be more organized, and Factor Meals can help you do all of that. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Chef-prepared, dietitian-approved, fresh, never frozen meals. Low-calorie options, high-protein options, low-carb options, veggie options, and vegan options, and so much more. I love the smoothies. Factor has changed my life, and I would kindly ask you guys to give them a try. Support the show. Support the sponsor. It's factormeals.com/KnicksChat50. Promo code KnicksChat50. So there's a lot of trade rumors surrounding this New York Knicks team, and rightfully so. There's going to be another trade, whether that be at the deadline or in the offseason. But right now, since the OG Anunoby trade, the New York Knicks look like one of the best teams in the NBA. You beat the Minnesota Timberwolves. You beat the Philadelphia 76ers by 36 points. And you beat some team a couple of days ago that I'm blanking on. That was a pretty good team as well. Let me pull up the schedule. You beat Chicago Bulls. They're not very good. But you beat arguably a team that's top 3 in the East, and you beat a team that's top 3 in the West. And tonight, you beat the Philadelphia 76ers with OG Anunoby shooting less than 50%, having an off night offensively, and Julius Randle having an off night offensively. But you know what I saw from OG Anunoby? Defense all night long. He guarded Embiid for a little bit. He did a heck of a job when he was matched up on Tyrese Maxey. Sure, the points right now and the field goal percentage aren't all that great, but it is obvious that the New York Knicks are a much better team with a guy like OG on the floor. And I think the more minutes he plays, the more he learns the rotations, the lineups, the schemes, and the off-ball movements and the offensive flow. He's going to fit in even better than he already has. I'm not worried about his offensive game at all. Continue to be one of the best wing defenders in the league. That's why you're here. I mean, Jalen Brunson was absolutely phenomenal tonight against the Philadelphia 76ers. He was the best guard in the game. He outplayed Tyrese Maxey. He had an electric second quarter where I believe he had 15 points, and they put the Knicks up 20 in that first half, and they never looked back. Only 2 assists for him tonight. Not really tripping off that. He had 26 assists combined in the prior 2 games. That's the efficiency for me. 29 points on 20 shots, 55% for the deck, and 44.4% from downtown on 9 attempts. You play like that, you're going to win a lot of ball games when Jalen Brunson's on your side. I can't help but give a shout out to my guy Miles McBride, who was electric in that first half, especially in that first quarter. Miles McBride went 4 of 4 from downtown, and he was great. He was a spark plug because we've talked about it. When you go to that lineup of McBride and Grimes and Randall and Hart and a big, they have been offensively They have been very bad offensively in those first 2 games, but Deuce with 4 first quarter threes set that team up for success, and he is a huge part in why the Knicks won this game. We'll talk about Randall and Grimes coming up in a second, but first, I got to give a huge shout out. I got to tell you guys to subscribe. We put out free Knicks content every single day here. We're on the cusp of getting to 32,000 subs on the channel. That's a huge accomplishment, and I want you to be a part of it. If you're looking for free, informative, passion-driven Knicks content for free every day, subscribe right now. Julius Randle. The Knicks were able to beat the Philadelphia 76ers by 36 points, with Randle having one of his worst games of the season. 8 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists, but he was just completely inefficient. I thought he got in his own head a little bit. 1 of 11 from the field. Didn't play well, but how often could we say that Julius Randle plays a stinker and he beat a team by 40 who is projected by a lot to come out of the Eastern Conference? A guy that I was thrilled about tonight. A guy that I have been a fan of for a very long time, and because of the lack of success he's had this year, I've had to kind of eat crow a little bit and walk back my takes, but I stand by everything I've said. Quentin Grimes is a professional basketball player, and he plays the game the right way. And if you could get Quentin Grimes to get back to the player he was last year, man, this team can be special. It really, really can. You had another guy off the bench in Grimes that can shoot 44% from three and get you 19 and 8 rebounds. It was the energy. It was the effort. It was the way he forced himself into the action. 8 boards. That's called want to. And Quentin Grimes could be a big part of this team going forward. They need him to keep putting up performances like him. Shout out to QG. Hope he continues to hoop. We got to see Precious Achiuwa flash off that offensive game just a little bit. I know only 5 points, but he had a nice baseline drive where he finished over the top of the defense, and he knocked down a 3. Overall, the Knicks dominated. One of the best games of the Knicks season so far this year. I'm so damn proud of them. Continue to play hard. Tom Thibodeau, you coached your butt off tonight. Isaiah Hartenstein, we didn't even talk about him, but the dude was electric. 17 points for Hartenstein, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals, 2 blocks, and he did a hell of a job on Joel Embiid. I know Embiid had 30 and 10, but he made him work, Coop. He was 10 of 23 from the field, and you force the big fella to shoot less than 50%, you get a hats off. My game ball goes to Isaiah Hartenstein. 17 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 blocks, 2 steals. Hart was everywhere, and he played 35 minutes. Josh Hart was electric. 10 points, 15 boards, 6 assists. He was great. He was a plus 46. Josh Hart was a plus 46. What a game for the Knicks. What a game for the Knicks. It's not many times in an NBA season that you get to feel this happy about our team. Enjoy it. Have fun, Knicks fans, and we'll be back tomorrow with another video. I want to close the show with a question to you guys. Are the Knicks NBA title contenders? Are the Knicks NBA title contenders? Yes or no? Let me know what you think down below. As always, I just want to say thank you, and I appreciate you for tuning in to Knicks Now by Chat Sports. If you haven't yet, subscribe to the channel and give me a follow over on Twitter. At @MarshallGreen_. That's my Twitter. So give me a follow over there. Yep, that's it. Let's go. Go Knicks.